Happy $31,000 Monday, everybody. Today I'm going to go through the trades I took and what I was watching to pass two 250K evals with Apex Trader funding. And that is the prop firm that I like to go through. Do I agree with their rules? No, but I like what they have to offer essentially. So you got to dance with the devil, right? But how we're going to start today's videos, we always have to chart the highs and the lows of what we were looking for to have our setups and make sure we were going to be looking in the right direction. Now, mind you, I always like to chart the low as well as the highs of the morning sessions. I don't do the overnights, but I like to chart the highs of the morning sessions. Okay, so here we go. How did I use MACD and the volume profile to get comfortable with my positions? And clearly I'm leaving money on the table here, but when we're just passing the evaluations, what was I looking at? So I'm going to turn on all of the fills and orders that I took with these trades shortly after the open to make this happen. Now, mind you, yes, we have all of this price action here. Let's not look at that. We're going to be focusing on the entries and exits that I took to get through these evaluations. So you'll notice almost 8,000 here, gave a little bit back, but the next candle, once the move was recognized, where we were going to be testing this candle, came up long, entered halfway through, and then as we broke the lows was where we passed the evaluation. But the devil is in the details with what we saw for the setup. So here was the low of the session. We came back up, tested the almighty VWAP, and we had a very strong sell-off. Came back up, pushed back down. But what did we notice to get a big chunk of the evaluation done on the volume profile? So clearly, I'm seeing once we reject VWAP right here, I want to see where the retest is going to be or where we're going to push lower. Clearly, the first retest got stuffed heavily. That means as we're looking left, we're going to sweep these lows to push back up, which is exactly what we did. So as we look at the volume profile here, it's a little tricky with Trade-Evate, and there are definitely better volume profiles. But all of this volume you're seeing here is now being put in with the session from later in the morning here. But how this looked earlier in the morning was clearly we had an area of support in the volume profile from about here straight down through this general area. This is what the volume profile would have looked like before we had this move up. So we came down here, we swept the lows of the morning, and we printed a little bit below the volume profile, which is why I got out right here. Look at this massive bullish engulfing candle, okay? So you can see that I got a little faked out, which is why I ended up buying and then having to cover. But after we retested the low part of this wick and pushed up, I knew in my mind we were going to go retest this imbalance here, which is exactly what we did. Now look at the volume profile in this section. You have all of basically your volume here, which we didn't even get to touch. We touched it a little bit. And you'll notice this is where I exited because this was a low or a higher volume node on the volume profile, which meant we were going to end up pushing back down to put in a low, which is exactly what happened. I wanted to see how we reacted back in this zone because I didn't know if we were going to get a little quick retest and then a shoot back up to test the VWAP or if we were going to come back lower. So once I sold here and saw that we pushed here, we had a very strong candle. This candle opened and we pushed up right through here. I knew we had to get short. So as we approached this candle, clearly I got short at 99, sold at 891, and that was the bulk of passing the evaluation. But look how much money I left on the table before we pushed back up, right? So how could you have played this long to retest the VWAP? Well, we could just take this and move it straight over. Because if we moved it left, push down, push back up, we based and retested, this was the money setup, guys, because here would have been the high of the morning session. You would have passed another evaluation or however many you wanted to copy trade. But that is how I use volume profile to see where candles are likely going to open, close, and push down. And you can see this also on the MACD as well. So what did we notice on the MACD as we came up and tested the VWAP right here? you'll notice that with these two candles, I'll just bring this down for argument's sake. You'll notice that on these two candles, the bands start to get tight. Here comes the signal line after we push down, and then boom, you have the MACD selling off. Just following the cursor here, you have the MACD selling off straight down, and then we cross on this band back up. I know that a lot of people are not comfortable using the MACD, or that it's lagging, so they're not happy with it, or it's not sophisticated enough. But guys, clearly we passed 2 evaluations today for 30K on the 250 evals, so it does work. And this is exactly what I use this morning session. And the first thing that gives me confidence, to recap, guys, charting the lows and the highs of the morning sessions before we open, before the 9:30. We want to chart those highs and lows. And then you can look at the volume profile as well as the MACD to get our entries and our exits and pass these evaluations. So guys, any questions, please comment down below and help me get to 1,000 subs. That would mean a lot. But I'll look forward to me in the next video. I will be going over some levels that I'll be watching for tomorrow. And other than that, guys, stay strong. See you in the next video.